Good morning, class. Today we will start with the chapter 26 of English language, that is relative clauses. We have discussed a lot of things about the clauses. What are the clauses? What is the main clause? What is the subordinate? What are the kinds of clauses in which we have discussed the noun clause, the adjective clause, and the adverb clause. And apart from that, we have also discussed about the kinds of adverb clause, in particular the clause of time, the clause of place, the clause of manner, the clause of concession, the clause of condition, and so on. The 9 clauses were there, and in the previous class we have discussed all of them. So today we will start discussing about the relative clause. What is a relative clause? As the name suggests, the one which shows the relation would be the relative clause. So here a relative clause can modify a noun, or it often tells about which person or thing the speaker meant. The person or the thing about which the speaker is talking, it tells, it describes, it defines that person or the thing. So relative clause is that modifies a noun. It can be a person or it can be a thing. It will define both the things, because the person and the thing both comes under the noun. For example, the boy who broke the window ran away. The boy who broke the window ran away. Now here you can clearly identify the main clause and the subordinate clause by now, because we have discussed so much about that. Who broke the window? It is the subordinate clause. If we will remove this from the sentence, if I will rewrite the remaining sentence, the boy ran away. I have removed this piece of the sentence which is underlined, and I wrote the remaining sentence once again, so you can clearly see that this sentence has the complete meaning. That's why it is the main clause. And who broke the window is the subordinate clause, and here it is also the relative clause, because it is telling the relation with the boy. What is the noun? The noun is boy. So it is telling the relation with the boy. That's why here it is a relative clause. Now, whenever we are talking about the relative clause, we always use the relative pronoun. The word who here works as the relative pronoun. So, that's why this connects the relative clause with it. So whenever we are talking about the relative clauses, we will use the relative pronouns. So let's talk about some of the relative pronouns that will be used in the relative clauses, how these pronouns are used, and what is the meaning of them when they are used in the sentence as the relative clause. So relative Now, whenever I'm talking about the relative pronouns, the first that we will take is the who. All of you must be aware of this word. This is used for the people, and it can also be used as an object, as a subject of a verb or preposition. For example, you can say, I don't like the people, I don't like the people who talk so much. I don't like the people who talk so much. So here, I don't like the people is itself complete. Who talk so much is the relative clause, and this relative pronoun is used. And it is used for the people. I don't like the people who. To whom this who is describing. This who is describing these people who talk so much. This who is describing to these people. That's why this is the relative clause. This is telling the relation between the talking at the people or about the liking of the person. So that is why here this clause works as the relative clause. Now, another example in which it is used as the object. I'll tell you the another example. The people who we stayed with were very nice. Who we stayed with. This is the relative clause, and here this who is used as the object for with. So when we are talking about the relative pronoun who as the subject, when it will be used for the people or the things or as a noun, but here sometimes it can be used as the object. For example, here as it is used with. For the with, this is the object. So these are the two ways in which we can use this relative pronoun who. And who sometimes we use for the things, but mostly it is used for the people. Now, the second relative pronoun that we are going to discuss is that. That is the relative pronoun we mostly use with the things. Or you can say who is used with the living things, and that is used with the non-living things. So that is used for the things, and it can also be used sometimes as the object of the verb or the preposition or the subject. Now, how can we use that as the relative pronoun for the relative clause? Here is the pen that I found on the table. So here this that. Why we have used that? Because we are talking about the pen, and pen is a thing. That's why here we are not taking who, we are taking that. And here it is telling about the pen which was found on the table. Give me the book that I gave you yesterday. Give me the t-shirt that you were wearing yesterday. Tell me the place name. You tell me the name of the place that you are going to visit in the next summer holiday. So here we are talking about all the things or the place, as I told you. So we will use that, because here we are not talking about the person. So work of who and that is more or less the same, but who will be used for the people and that will be used for the things. Now the third one, the third relative pronoun that we are going to use is which. Which is also used for the things and the subject of verb or the preposition. For example, the car which caused the accident, the car which caused the accident drove off. Means the car by which, using the car which the accident took place, that car drove off. What is drove? It is the past form of drive. Drive, drove, driven. So this is the past form and this is the past participle form, or we can say the drove is the second form. So which, now which and that both are used for the things. So you can change it, you can use which and that interchangeably at the place which you find suitable. We can discuss more about the use of that and which when we will be doing the exercise. Then the doubt will be clear to you that at what place we should use that and what place we should use which. Okay, so this way we will use which. Now the next relative pronoun that we are going to discuss is whose. Whose sometimes interchangeably used in place of who, but in general we use whose as a possessive. Sorry, the whom is used interchangeably, whose is used possessive as you talk about his, her, its. So whenever we are talking his, her or its, the whose will be used in the same meaning. It is together used with the noun and it can be used for the people and the things both. For example, the man whose house was burned down left the village. Here it means there was a house of a man and that house was burned. So after the burning of the house, the men left the village. So whose is used as the possessive. What is possession? It denotes the possession, that the particular thing belongs to you. So the house belongs to this man. The house belongs to this man. The house was possessed by this man. So to show the relation between the man and the house, the relation of the possession, to show the relation of the possession between the man and the house, we have used the relative pronoun whose.